You're listening to The Vidaurri Effect with your host, Rudy Vidaurri, owner of the Apex Predator MMA Gym in Rancho Cordova, California, co-hosted by Jennifer Steele. Now here's Rudy. It's on.
My name is Sensei Rudy Vidaurri. I am the owner and head coach of Apex Predator Mixed Martial Arts in Rancho Cordova, and you are listening to The Vidaurri Effect. Today I want to talk about winning. Winning is something that is special, that is rare, that is fun. I want to talk about what it looks like to be a winner, because winning comes in all different forms. What might be a win to one person might be a loss to another, but it's important to set your own standards and not live by others. You have to mark your own progress. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to winning, competing, being driven to be your best, not anybody else's, not listening to what other people think should be your best or what you should do. I think that raises the bigger question of what your end game is in life, what your goals are. It takes courage to stand up and compete in life. Some people, it's easier just not to compete. It's easier to exist rather than to try. They stay within the safety of their bubble than to take the risks to be great. I know that why I'm able to do what I love every day is because I took the risks to get there. It wasn't easy. I had to work a lot of shitty jobs. I had to do a lot of things that weren't fun. But in the end, I put myself out there. I was scrutinized. I was in the spotlight. I worked hard. I grinded. I failed a bit. I stayed resilient, and in the end, I was able to do what I wanted to. Nobody could take that away from me. Nobody was going to. I refused to let any of that stop me from getting to where I was going, to getting what I wanted. I think it's okay to understand that you can make errors along the way. Winning isn't flawless. It isn't perfect. And it takes a very kind of special person to win, especially in this day and age where everyone gets participation medals and nobody wants to work hard to get instant results. Winning takes grit. Winning takes perseverance. Winning takes desire. And winning takes strength. Now I want you to ask yourself right now, if you're not winning, do you have any of these qualities? If the answer is no, then it's probably no mystery as to why you're not winning. Maybe you're losing in life. Maybe nothing is going well. Maybe you're down on your luck, down on your finances, down on your relationships, down on yourself. But I'm here to tell you right now, the very last thing you could do is feel sorry for yourself if you want to be a winner. It might take some work, but if you really want to change the trajectory of your life, don't think of it as work. Think of what comes with the territory of being a winner. Think of the rewards. Everyone has a different reason that drives them for success. I know for me, I was driven by glory and honor, and a few other more colorful things, which is another conversation altogether. So ask yourself what drives you, because you can't win unless you know what you're competing for. Recently, we had an event up at a casino in the northern part of the state where a student of mine, cage fighter, won his first cage fight. And we've been well decorated in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. We've medaled at every tournament we've walked into, including nationals. And for me, this was a big step forward as a coach. It was our first mixed martial arts cage fight. I've been open for a couple of years now, a little less than that. And really, when I opened this place, the vision was to have cage fighters, mixed martial artists, guys that do what not everybody can do. And my student went in, took my teachings to a T, and executed flawlessly a win that couldn't have been any more reflective of how I train, how I fight, everything that I've done in my career. It was one of the proudest moments I've had, not only in my life, in my career, as a coach, as a man, but period. It was a defining moment for me. It was a defining moment for the dojo, as well as a defining moment for my student. Very proud of him. Very proud of the direction that this gym has gone since I opened 2 years ago. All the awards, all the accolades, all the wins, all the tournaments, all the medals. Something about this one just made it that much more special. And so maybe it's not a fight you're in. Maybe it's something you're trying to compete for. Maybe it's just a job you want. Maybe it's a girl. Maybe it's something that you have your sights set on, but you keep finding all the reasons not to go after it because you're afraid of success. And part of winning is being fearless. And if you have the freedom to abandon your fear and go after what you really want in life, it's going to be that much easier.
You know, as I'm sitting here listening to you, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
That's exciting stuff for you in the gym. I think, you know, a lot of people maybe think that about what you're talking about and think it has to be a big situation. And maybe for a lot of people, it starts with little situations, little things that, you know, maybe it's just acing that meeting that you have to ace on Friday and putting in the extra time to make sure that you do it the right way. Little things like that, I think little victories eventually lead to big victories, right?
Absolutely. It's the small victories in life. I think compartmentalizing goals one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, if you're able to, like I always talk about, have something to look forward to every day. Maybe it's your progress towards your goal. And, you know, winning isn't possible without having a goal because then you don't know what you're competing for, like I said. And you have to look at the entirety of what you're after. Now, if it's just one means to an end moment that you're working so hard for in life, you know, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, that's fine. But really, you look at the journey and you look at the moments along the way and the small victories that mark your progress, whether it's fighting, you learned a new submission today, you know, whether or not you lost or won, you know, in the tournament, your progress, your own personal growth is equally as important, you know, and I think people lose sight of that. Everybody wants one thing, one shiny thing that they can hold on to that captures everything, you know, that they can show off and brag about. But really, I think when you separate the ego and you put all that aside and people can look at the journey and look at the small things that they do along the way to get to where they want to be, that's really what makes the journey complete. It's not that one moment in the end. It's that everything you've done along the way got you there.
I was just thinking while you were talking about that, how in radio, which is my industry, every time I left a radio station to go to another radio station or left a radio station not knowing where I was going to go, that can be a scary moment. But when you look back on it, every place I ended up after became a better opportunity for me. Someplace I grew more. Someplace it happened to me recently, you know, and I ended up at a station where I'm learning a whole new skill set within radio that I never thought that I would ever learn. And so, you know, I think sometimes winning comes disguised as losing.
Absolutely.
And you have to really be able to sit down and be honest with yourself and look back and give yourself the pats on the back. You know, nobody else will do it. You know, you have to do it. You have to do that for yourself.
Trusting the process. You know, it's something I talk about a lot, not only with my students, but just as a life coach, people in general. I think look at what's happening in the small window and they get so consumed with the emotions of what they're dealing with in the moment, they stop looking downfield and understanding that there's a bigger picture to all of this. And you're right. Some of my worst failures in life opened the door for some of the greatest things I've ever done with myself. And having the wisdom now to understand that when bad things happen, sometimes there's ups and downs. We were talking about this just before we recorded right now, is that as an entrepreneur, sometimes there's going to be risks. Sometimes there's uncertainty. I have to eat what I kill, but I wouldn't have it any other way, you know, and you have to be okay with that. And it takes balls, you know, it is serious, you know, the kind of risks you take. If you really want to be great and you really want to put yourself out there, you have to be okay with that. You know, unless you want to get in line and follow the herd, you need to do something different. And doing something different isn't always easy.
Can you think of an example maybe for you where something that you really thought was something you lost at but turned out to be a big win for you?
Yeah, you know, there's been a few setbacks in my life, both with addiction and with personal losses in my life. I lost my father, and at an early age, it felt like it was the end of the world, and really it kind of set the table for everything I've done with myself. More painfully and more recently, I lost my son in 2019 after a week of being alive. Thank God his twin brother is alive and well. But that was something that kind of drove me to step outside of the comfort zone and out of the bubble that I had kind of been in and the rut that I was stuck in. And sometimes it'll take an extraordinary circumstance, no matter how painful it is, to make you realize that life is short, that you don't have all the time in the world, and that you need to be out there doing what you can to make your life the greatest it's going to be, whatever that looks like, and not wasting any time doing it. I know for me, I had to move. I had to go ahead and not only live my life for me, but for him at that point, for both of them, and to honor them, and that self-destruction was no longer an option, and that safety was no longer an option, and being comfortable was something that I was just going to have to learn not to be. In the moments that I needed to kickstart my life again, I needed to go out there and I needed to do those things, and I needed to really take that risk. And here I am.
Yeah, and you won.
Well, I'm winning. I'm winning right now, and yeah, I won. I won those battles. There's many battles in this war, but thank God I'm winning right now, and yeah, I won those, and it's always a work in progress, though. Once you become the winner, you become the hunted.
Yeah, and I think also it's easy to get bogged down in little things along the way, distractions and things that you need to learn to not pay attention to. I've been in situations too in my past where, just really silly things that you look back later and you go, why did I spend so much time worrying about that? But it takes your focus, and it takes your focus off of the things that you should be paying attention to, or wish later that you had paid attention to. I think back when my daughter was young, and I went through a divorce when she was real small, and it took so much focus off of spending some times with her that I wish I would have been more in the moment with. I still was able to maximize my time with her, but I think there were times I wished I wouldn't have been so distracted, where I could have been more in the moment. That's just one example.
It's absolutely true. And being able to differentiate the bullshit from what really matters also is something that's a virtue, and people that don't have the ability to do that sometimes get consumed by otherwise meaningless things that have no significance in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's, little issues with things that are never going to add up to anything, but if you invest your energy in them, they become more significant than they really are. And being able to see that takes self-awareness. And sometimes you may have somebody around you who's trying to point those things out to you. It's good to surround yourself with people that are supportive and have a good perspective for you. And we'll be honest with you about that too, because not only is that going to be helpful to you, but sometimes people won't always be honest with themselves.
I think it's easy to be in situations that we get used to, maybe is a good way to put it. When you're around people like Rudy was just talking about, being around people who will lift you up and who are supportive, you also have to identify the people who are not supportive or lifting you up. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they are afraid of your success. There's any number of things that a supposed friend of yours or a relationship of yours could have these things that are getting in your way of advancing, right?
Yeah, because once you start winning, you become a threat. Or once you decide to make changes to better yourself, you become a threat to others who are insecure, who don't have the same things going for them, and will try to hold you back in order to make themselves feel better, But if you're going to be accomplished, sometimes it takes getting rid of the chains that hold you back in life, and those chains could be in the form of a person. They can be in the form of your own self-doubt, your own demons, your own fears. And I think that's something that really cripples a lot of people, unfortunately, is the fear of not succeeding. And so, success isn't just going to be handed to you. I'll tell you that right now. It is not easy. Like, even after you succeed, it's even harder to maintain it And I know that every day I scratch and claw for new members. I work 7 days a week lately. In addition to the podcast, writing new cookbooks. I mean, it is nonstop, and you have to have that tenacity. You have to have the desire, like I said, all those things, the strength, the perseverance, and you have to have the grit to be able to continue. I think identifying a winner is also important. If you have not been around winning people, or if you have not won in life and you've done the majority of your life losing or not being on the winning side, it's important to look at what it looks like. Find somebody around you who's doing well. Look at the patterns. Look at the trends of people who succeed in life. Read people's stories. Do your homework, research. Don't be lazy. Fear and laziness are probably the two biggest factors in why people don't succeed. But if you start to look at somebody who's doing well, what did they do to get there? It's one foot in front of the other. It's usually not an overnight process. And if you're not cut out to put in the work and do the time, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're better off living in your mom's basement, playing Mario Kart, ordering pizza, and that's okay for you. Some people get complacent. They're perfectly fine with that, but that's not a person you want to model your drive after. It doesn't have to be a celebrity. It can be somebody you know. It can be an aunt. It could be an uncle. It can be a sensei. It can be a bigger brother. But those are the people that are doing stuff, that are out there trying, even if they're not succeeding. If they're trying, you want to look at the people and how they try, because you don't start without trying.
And go back and analyze your losses. I mean, think about some of the situations in your life where you didn't win, and what could you have done differently? What was the moment that changed it for you? Maybe you didn't step up and go the extra mile on something, or maybe you didn't call that person back when you were supposed to, or, winning takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of focus, right? To do all the things you need to do in all those areas to make it happen.
Looking at your weaknesses is the first step towards greatness. And if you can improve those things so that you have no flaws in your game, that's really the best way to go ahead and move forward with becoming the best. And I like to look at athletes, for example, and you look at the training regimens, or you look at the demanding schedules and OTAs and training camps, and the way, people put in work in order to become the best and make millions of dollars. You see a lot of haters. People are saying, oh, all they do is play ball and they do this, or, all they do is throw a couple of punches and kicks and they get paid this, and people that speak that way are, first of all, they're ignorant. And second of all, they don't know what it takes. They also don't have what it takes. So when you look at somebody up at 5 a.m, working out, working with a personal trainer, eating well, specifically tailoring their diet and their training regimen to accommodate their success, that's an example. When you look at people that don't sleep around the clock to make sure that their companies are hitting on all cylinders, CEOs of successful companies, grinding, meetings, taking flights, pushing their brand, that's what it looks like. I'm up every day, one way or another. A question came, how many hours do you work per day, per week? And when I really stopped and thought about the question, it never stops. You don't ever stop grinding. And that's what it takes to win.
And maybe you can find some inspiration in some of your, have people that you look up to, have idols that mean something to you, and find out what they did and what their take on winning is. Like, for instance, Vince Lombardi said, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at Jabba the Hutt. No, I'm just kidding.
He's my inspiration.
He's my inspiration to be a slob. No, but I mean, I guess in some ways that can be an inspiration that people aspire not to be a guy who just sits there and becomes a giant lazy worm.
Put a big picture of Jabba up on your fridge and say, this is what I don't want to be.
This is what you don't want to be. Right. That works just as well. And his little asshole buddy that has the high-pitched laugh and feeds him frogs or whatever it is.
Muhammad Ali said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion?
I'd say he did pretty well for himself,
Yeah,
right?
I think so, right?
Yeah, he's not Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's right.
You know, and these are perfect examples. You know, and those are people that did extraordinary things, had extraordinary careers. It wasn't just about one flash in the pan. And that's the other thing, is that one moment does not make or break you. I had to explain this to another fighter of mine, you know, after an event recently, and hopefully that resonated. But you know, it's about the body. You know, you're not a winner if you win once, and you're not a loser if you lose once. It's also how you handle those things. If you handle winning with class and gratitude and humility and respect, and you shake your opponent's hand and you're cool about it, people want to celebrate that guy. If you're cocky, you win one fight, you go out there, you're jumping all around like you've never done anything with your life, and it's the greatest thing you've ever done, and you just blow everybody off and you're disrespectful, then you're a loser.
Yeah.
You know, and if you lose with honor and you go out and shake somebody's hand and say, hey, you were the better man today, my hat's off to you, but I'm going to get you next time.
Yeah.
Then you have the class of a winner. It's all subjective, you know, and it's all relative to the situation you're in. You know, I think if you carry yourself like a winner, uphold yourself to those standards, your actions, whether you win or not in those one moments, makes you a winner.
Yeah, you have to be it. You have to live it, no matter what you do, whether you're doing something small, like, you know, folding your clothes, fold them the right way. Maybe you're doing, you know, or just little things that you do every day. Try to do them like a winner.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean a dick and go try to beat the crap out of your little brother at checkers and then throw the board after you're done winning,
right,
and, you know, in his face or something. It means just try to hold yourself to high standards, you know, strive to succeed, try to be good at everything you do. And I think that's what gets lost these days, that people don't have enough pride in what they do. There's a phone that can do it for them. There's a tablet that can do it for them. And there's too many things that take away from the fact that they have to do something for themselves. You know, take pride in it. I go sometimes to restaurants and you can tell people just want to get out of there and they just throw something on a plate. And I wonder if they would serve that to their own mother, you know, and it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're flipping burgers, you know, that doesn't mean that that's what you're going to be doing the rest of your life. But while you're there, work hard, because that value that you earn from that hard work can translate to success down the line. The work ethic, you know, when I got busted, you know, back a long time ago, I had to deal with the 2 felonies and then getting those cleared. But before I did, you know, and before I was living the dream like I am now, I had to work some shitty jobs. You know, I was literally on a farm shoveling shit, working with cows. I mean, I'm the most unlikely cowboy, but I was, you know, but I took pride in it. You know, I took pride in the animals. I took pride in working with the cows and making sure that I was cleaning up properly and doing my job exactly the way I needed it to be. It was hard work. You're out there in the summer. It's 110 degrees plus. There's no shade. It's hot, you know, and it's physical, and cows don't give a shit, you know, they're not going to help you. Oh, let me shit over here for you, you know.
If they do, please tell us.
Yeah. I need to find these cows and I need to become rich.
Yeah.
Because that's an extraordinary cow. That cow's a winner, right? It knows where to shit. But you know, those are things that kind of helped mold me in my work ethic and the patterns that I would set myself up for success with later, you know. And whether you're washing dishes, it doesn't have to be what you do for the rest of your life. But if you take pride in it and you do it well and you are proud of yourself for doing that, that rubs off on other people. You're like, hey, man, you know what? That guy's all right. You know, he comes in here every day. He gets to work. You know, he's going places. This isn't it for him. People will recognize that you. Now, if you're down on your luck, you're washing dishes, you're flipping burgers, and then you kind of carry that energy with you, people are like, well, that's why he's there.
Yeah.
You know, there's a difference. Walk like a winner. Talk like a winner. Be a winner. Live it, breathe it, immerse yourself in it, and you'll become it.
A champion is afraid of losing. Everybody else is afraid of winning. That is
Absolutely.
Billie Jean King.
That is probably one of the most accurate quotes, and you kind of have to almost have a screw loose, Some of the greatest thinkers, people that have these independent mindsets, are not followers. A lot of people get in line, they go to work at these corporates. Yeah, it's safe. Yeah, you get a check, but are you doing what you really want to do? If you really want to do what you want to do, there's nobody stopping you from doing it but yourself. If you want to be a radio DJ like Jen, if you want to be a sensei like me, winning cage fights up in the spotlight, do it. Don't blame me for your inadequacies. Don't be jealous of me. Don't resent her. If you're sitting there talking shit right now, I could do what this guy does, or like, this podcast sucks. Well, well, fucking step up and do it then.
Yeah, you do one. See how easy it is.
You do one, try, And that's the thing. This separates the people that sit there and run their mouth and the people that get up and actually put words into motion. It's not easy. It is not easy.
And ignore the people who would say otherwise and who would otherwise have you feel like you can't do it. Get away from those people.
Oh, yeah, because there will be a lot of them, and it might be closer than you think. Sometimes from within the walls of your own home, might be a brother or sister or parent, might be a relative, might be your best friend, quote. But there will be a lot of people that will doubt you. And I think the important part of that is not to use that doubt and let it get to you and not be resentful of that, but almost let it fuel you like it's a compliment. Like, now all of a sudden you're formidable. Now all of a sudden you're a threat. Now all of a sudden you're something that people are going to watch transform. And if you take what they say to heart, then they're winning. Then they're the ones who are winning at keeping you from becoming what you want to be. But if you take their words, regardless of how they mean them, whether it's hate, resentment, jealousy, or just confusion on their part, and you use it to fuel the fire, to continue your journey, to drive yourself to greater lengths to be the best of who you are, then it's all worthwhile. I want to thank everybody for listening today. It's becoming too fun to record these things. I'm just like a little kid in here with a microphone in front of me. But if you guys want to find me again, it's ApexPredatorMMA.com. Thanks for everything, and stay blessed.
The Vidaurri Effect is a Steel Voices production. Recorded, produced, mixed, and engineered at Cat House Studios by Jennifer Steele. Hosted and created by Rudy Vidaurri, owner of the Apex Predator MMA Gym in Rancho Cordova, California. More info and full episodes available at ApexPredatorMMA.com, SteelVoices.com, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening to The Vidaurri Effect.